Why shouldn't we look to sign agreements with someone like Saudi Arabia, for example?
Well, of course, trade deals, especially when they involve job creation, are very, very welcome. But we have to balance that against, I believe, the human rights record of the countries that we trade with. I don't think we should be giving countries a blank check. And in the case of the 6 Gulf countries, all are dictatorships, all are serial human rights abusers, and all have persecuted their own citizens. And in the case of Saudi Arabia, it is currently waging war in Yemen with arms supplied by the UK, even though we are supplying these arms, even though it is on the record that Saudi Arabia has bombed civilian targets indiscriminately and killed many innocent people. Now, I just think it is very wrong for us to trade with a regime that is engaged in a war involving war crimes against Yemeni people. You know, we deplore Russian war crimes in Ukraine. We have to be consistent and deplore Saudi war crimes in Yemen.
Yes, so Peter, then, is it your view that ultimately we can learn from the German example, who became overly dependent on Russia? That's another country that you have campaigned around, Peter. Do you actually think we can learn from the German example and not get too dependent on states with who we do not share values with?
I think we have to wean ourselves off those states where there are serious human rights abuses. For example, in Saudi Arabia, as well as the war in Yemen, there are at least 30 political prisoners. And right across all these 6 states, there's no equality for women. Women are subjected to draconian restrictions on their movements and lives. There's no right to form and free trade unions. So people in those countries are subjected to quite draconian labor laws, and they have no right and no redress against that. In Qatar, as we know, since that country was given the right to host the World Cup, over 6,500 migrant workers have died. 6,500. It is such a shocking example. And I just think we need to find other countries that will, do deals with us, but also respect human rights. And in the interim, pressure these 6 Gulf countries to clean up their act. We need to say, look, we will trade with you, but you have to release political prisoners. You do have to end the persecution of sexual, ethnic, and religious minorities within your own country.